Story 1. The comment that replied itself. I moderate a tech forum part-time from my apartment in Austin. I've done it for years. Routine stuff, ban spammers, flag trolls, keep discussions clean. Nothing ever stood out. Until last Thursday, when I saw a comment I swear I hadn't written. But it was under my username. Same signature phrasing, same paragraph breaks I always use. It was a short reply, too casual to raise red flags. Except I don't remember typing it. The comment was under a thread discussing smart home surveillance. My post read, "Don't trust firmware updates you didn't initiate yourself. That's how they learn your habits." I blinked at the screen, trying to recall if maybe I'd typed it during a late night session and forgotten. I do take melatonin, but the timestamp was wrong. It said 8:26 p.m. I hadn't been online since lunchtime. I deleted it. Quick click, no second thought. But when I refreshed the thread, it was back. Same exact wording. Only now the timestamp said 8:28 p.m., 2 minutes in the future. I checked my system clock. It was still 8:26. The post was somehow from a moment that hadn't happened yet. I tried clearing cache, logging out, even messaging the forum dev. No reply. I reopened the thread. The comment duplicated itself again. 8:30. Then 8:32. Always 2 minutes ahead. It was like the post was chasing time, reposting itself faster than I could delete it. Each time I blinked, it returned with surgical precision. I copied the text and pasted it into Notepad, thinking maybe I'd find hidden code. Nothing, just the same plain sentence. But when I minimized the window, something changed. My desktop background flickered for a fraction of a second. That blue glow wallpaper replaced by a black screen with faint white text in the lower corner. One word: monitoring. I pulled the plug on the router. Full disconnect. No Wi-Fi. I waited 10 minutes before opening my laptop again. Offline mode. The thread was gone, replaced by a message: access terminated for user nub1449. I wasn't sure if that was me. My mod ID is a 6-digit code, not 4. Still, my gut twisted. Out of instinct, I opened WordPad, just to type something, to see if anything still felt off. As I typed, each letter lagged. Not like a slow PC, but like something was intercepting the keystrokes. I wrote, "Is someone watching me?" Before I could save, the words erased themselves, one character at a time, in reverse. I shut the laptop and stepped back. My apartment was quiet. No sound from the street, no hum from the fridge. Even my wall clock had stopped ticking. The second hand was stuck between numbers, trembling slightly like it couldn't decide which direction to go. I stared at it for what felt like minutes. At exactly 8:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. One notification: "You're being too loud." That was it. No app name, no number. Just a gray bubble on a black screen. I hadn't spoken. I hadn't moved. The only sound in the room was my breath, suddenly shallow and loud in my own ears. I turned the phone off, removed the battery, even unplugged the TV. Every screen went black. But when I looked toward the window, the reflection on the glass wasn't mine. It was someone sitting at my desk, shoulders hunched, fingers hovering above the keyboard. The chair was empty when I turned around. Now I leave my laptop closed at night. But sometimes, just before sleep, I hear the soft clack of keys being pressed, not randomly, not like noise, like someone typing, slowly, deliberately. Last night, I opened my device again and found a draft comment waiting to be posted. Same thread, same phrase. Just one change. It said "we" instead of "they." If anyone else has experienced something like this, please let me know. Am I going crazy? Story 2, 4:04 at the crosswalk. I was heading home from a late shift downtown, usual route, usual silence. Seattle's wet pavement mirrored the hazy glow of the street lights, and the crosswalk in front of the coffee shop blinked red. I looked up at the signal, waiting for it to change, and that's when I saw it. Instead of the usual walk symbol, the screen flickered once, then calmly displayed 404, human not found. I blinked. It was gone. back to the little white figure walking. No one else reacted. There were 5 of us waiting. A man in a long coat with his face down, 2 teenagers glued to their phones, a woman rubbing her temple like her head hurt. Static. That's the only word I can use. They weren't moving, not even subtly. No shifts of weight, no glances. It was like someone had hit pause on them. I felt the air tense around me, cold and heavy, like a draft that shouldn't exist outdoors. I crossed quickly once the signal turned. Halfway through, I turned to glance back. The group was still there, perfectly still, like mannequins. My chest tightened. I told myself they were just tired. Maybe I was too. But something about how they stood just slightly off made my skin crawl, like a misaligned video frame. I sped up, didn't look back again. My apartment's only 10 minutes from that corner. But the walk stretched. I passed a familiar mural. It looked different. Tonight, a crack across the painted face like a tear. The alley next to it usually smelled of grease and wet cardboard, but tonight it was clean. Sterile. I walked faster, suddenly aware of how loud my footsteps sounded against the empty street. Every step echoed like I wasn't alone. When I reached my building, the front door wouldn't recognize my keycard at first. The reader blinked red twice before the door finally unlocked with a reluctant buzz. Inside, the hallway lights flickered as I walked. That's not uncommon, but they seemed to flicker in sync with my steps, like they were reacting to me. I reached my door, apartment 407, and paused. Something in me hesitated to go inside, but there was nowhere else to go. I entered, locked the door, and leaned against it. The living room was as I'd left it, blanket on the couch, dishes in the sink. Still, it felt empty in a different way. Not just unoccupied, absent, like the room was pretending to be my apartment. I stood there, waiting for something to shift, to reveal the trick. Nothing did. I sat on the couch and turned on the TV for background noise. It glitched, not just static, the image bent, distorted. For a second, I saw that same message on the screen. 404, human not found. I jumped up, turned it off. The apartment went silent again. My breath was shallow, my palms damp. I tried texting a friend. No signal. I checked the clock. It had stopped. 2:14 a.m., frozen. I turned toward the hallway where the bedroom door stood ajar. It hadn't been. I always leave it closed when I'm not in there. The light inside was on, dim and buzzing faintly. I approached slowly, heart pounding, pushed the door open. The bed was made. No one there, but the closet door, half open. I swear I saw something move in the mirror across from it. Not a reflection. A glitch, like pixels rearranging too slow to hide. I backed out and closed the bedroom door, then turned toward the bathroom, its door now wide open, though I hadn't touched it. A faint sound came from inside, like tapping, rhythmic, mechanical. I didn't go in. I couldn't. I sat back down and waited for the sun, which felt impossibly far away. No sleep. Just that same phrase repeating in my mind. 404, human not found. I don't know if I made it home that night, or if something else did. If anyone in Seattle saw the same thing at a crosswalk, please tell me. I just want to know I'm not the only one. Story 3. My blog was posting without me. I stopped writing in that blog after college. It's still online, tucked away, in a forgotten corner of the internet. Bare bones HTML, no comments, no followers. I hadn't touched it in years. So when I got a push notification last night for a new post from my own blog, I felt off, like a thread had just snapped loose in my head. The subject line was, "Even now, I remember the red swings." I knew that phrase. I wrote it in my diary when I was 9. The same phrasing, the same spelling mistake. Remember instead of remember. My heart started pounding in this slow, sick rhythm. I opened the blog and there it was. A full post, written in my voice using memories no one else should know. It described my old elementary school playground, the smell of the mulch after rain, the way the swings creaked on foggy mornings, the sound my sneakers made on the metal slide. But what shook me most was a sentence near the end. I didn't look behind me then. I still won't. I remember writing that in my diary after something scared me during recess. I never told anyone. I checked the timestamp, 3:42 a.m., while I was asleep. And worse, there was GPS metadata embedded in the post. It pinpointed the location as inside my apartment. I haven't given that blog access to any of my devices. It's not even connected to my current email. I tried to dismiss it as some kind of elaborate hack. Maybe old files synced to the cloud without my knowledge. Maybe. I don't keep physical diaries anymore, but I still have the old ones in a box under my bed. I pulled them out, flipping through pages yellowed and soft at the edges. One of the notebooks was open, even though I always store them closed. A fresh crease ran down the middle of a page I hadn't read in years. The exact page with the swing story. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Every small sound, pipes expanding, neighbors walking, a car alarm outside, made my chest tighten. I put my phone in a drawer, disconnected my laptop, but around 5:10 a.m. I heard the soft chime of an email alert. It was from the blog server. Post successfully scheduled for 7 a.m. No title, no preview. I powered everything down, including the router, unplugged every device. Then I sat in the living room waiting for 7. The light through the blinds was the dull gray of early morning. Everything felt dry and still, like the air before a storm. At 7:01, I turned the modem back on, waited for the signal. Logged in. The post had gone live. This time it was just one sentence. You looked, finally, and underneath, a blurry image. I squinted at it, adjusted the brightness. It was my bedroom, taken from above, like from the ceiling corner. Bed, my desk, the diaries scattered across the floor, and my own sleeping form. There's no camera up there. I checked the smoke detector. I broke it open. Nothing. Still, that image exists. I saved it. Don't ask me why. But every time I open it now, the lighting in the photo looks slightly different. Shadows shift. My position in the bed changes. Last night, my eyes were closed. This morning, they weren't. I'm not sharing the blog link. Not yet. Part of me is terrified that opening it again will trigger something worse. But if anyone else has ever experienced something like this, something this specific, I need to know. Am I the only one? If anyone else has experienced something like this, please let me know. Am I going crazy? Story 4. Influencer in the window. I only followed her because her apartment had the exact kind of lighting I wished mine did. Soft, diffused, always golden at sunset. That, and the way she seemed effortlessly calm, like nothing ever touched her. She lived on the 28th floor of a high-rise in Manhattan. Every live stream had that same muted view behind her. City lights blinking through the glass, buildings like frozen giants, no curtains, always wide open. It was a Tuesday night. I remember because I had leftovers in the microwave and her notification popped up just as the timer beeped. I opened the stream out of habit. She was already talking about something mundane, lip gloss maybe, but I wasn't really listening. The focus of her camera was slightly off. Her face was centered, but something behind her, just a little to the left, kept catching the light. She paused mid-sentence. At first, I thought it was buffering, but the stream didn't stutter. She just stopped talking. Froze. Not like a glitch, like she was listening to something behind the camera, but not turning her head, just staring. Her jaw slightly parted, completely still. That's when I paused the video, thinking it had frozen. But in the reflection of the window behind her, I could see her face. And the reflection was still moving, blinking slowly, tilting its head. The real her wasn't moving at all, but the reflection was. I watched for maybe 20 seconds like that. The reflection leaned slightly forward, as if trying to see something on my side of the screen. I unpaused the video out of pure panic, hoping it would somehow reset. It didn't. The real version of her was still frozen, eyes fixed just off camera, body stiff. But the reflection had stopped moving. It was perfectly still again, like it knew. I backed out of the app and closed my phone. I didn't sleep well that night, kept glancing at the windows in my apartment. They were dark, reflective. I kept imagining movement behind my own reflection. Just slight things. Breathing. A blink. I couldn't match. The next morning I checked her profile. The live stream was still marked as live. Same title, same thumbnail, but it wasn't showing in anyone's feed. You had to go directly to her page to see it. The view count had frozen too. It hadn't gone up, it hadn't gone down. I messaged a few people who used to follow her. They all said the same thing. She hadn't posted in days. Some thought she quit. Others hadn't noticed. No one else brought up the stream. I don't even know if they could see it anymore. But I could. I still can. I've checked it every day since then. Sometimes she's still frozen in the same position. Other times, she's not on screen at all. Just the empty apartment, camera still pointed at the window. Once, I swear I saw movement. Again, not from her, from something in the glass. A shape, blurred, just behind where her reflection used to be. I tried recording it. The file got corrupted, twice. The third time, the recording was just black, but the audio, something breathing, not hers, not mine. Last night, I muted the stream and left it playing while I tried to fall asleep. At 3:17 a.m., my phone vibrated once. No message, just a single buzz. I looked at the screen, and the stream had closed. The app wasn't even running. I reopened it, went to her profile. Still live. If anyone else followed her, Skylar.nyc, please tell me you remember. Please tell me you saw what I saw. Because if I'm the only one, who's she still live streaming for? Story 5. Unread message in an empty chat. I work night shifts at a data center in downtown LA, 13th floor of an aging glass tower that hums with servers and recycled air. We're not supposed to talk about what clients rent space here, but it's mostly finance, health, and some government contracts. I start at midnight, relieve the day guard, check the entry logs, then sit alone in a dim security office watching silent camera feeds of quiet corridors. Nothing ever happens. Until 2 nights ago. At exactly 2:14 a.m., while I was logging delivery timestamps, the internal chat pinged. No sound, just a sudden box appearing on my second screen. The user ID was .null. I've never seen that format before. The message read, "Don't look at the feed." That was it. No greeting, no signature, just that. What hit me hardest wasn't the warning. It was the fact I hadn't opened the live camera stream yet. I stared at it for a long minute, then hovered over the feed tab. It was standard protocol to check cameras every 30 minutes. I was due, but my finger hesitated on the mouse, skin suddenly cold. I don't know why, but I minimized the chat and walked to the break room instead. Made coffee I didn't want. Told myself someone was pranking me. Maybe IT testing internal alerts. But when I got back, the message was gone. Not deleted. Vanished. The chat window had reset to a new session. Our system logs every message, even test alerts. I checked the archive. No trace. I called the IT hotline. No one answered. Just 4 beeps and silence. I remember standing there, half lit by the monitor, feeling like someone had watched me doubt myself. I finally clicked into the feed. The main lobby looked normal. Storage halls were dark and still. Then I switched to the corridor outside Lab B, one of the high security rooms with double authentication. I stopped. The lights were strobing, dim, then harsh, then dim again. And there was someone there, or something. It stood perfectly still, at the edge of frame, unmoving, head tilted slightly. I couldn't make out details, no uniform, no badge. It looked blurry, but not like low resolution, more like the camera didn't want to see it. Every few seconds, the feed would glitch. Pixel smears, audio spikes, a faint flick like static. When it cleared, it had moved slightly closer to the door. I picked up the radio and called floor patrol. No answer. Then I remembered. I was alone that night. The other guard called out sick. I was supposed to be the only one in the building. I opened the door to the hallway and listened. Total silence. Not even the usual buzz of fluorescence. I don't know how long I stood there breathing. Shallow, staring at the dark. Back at the screen, the figure was gone. I rewound the feed 5 minutes. It was still there. 10 minutes. Still there. 20 minutes back. Nothing. It had appeared during the exact minute I received the message. I tried exporting the footage. The file saved. 0 bytes. Corrupted. Like the camera never recorded. Anything at all. I did a sweep of the floor. Every room locked. Lab B sealed tight. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. Nothing moved. I left the camera on and sat frozen in my chair, eyes locked on that corridor. Just before sunrise at 5:42 a.m., the chat pinged again. Same user. 1 line. Too late. I never got that message either. It vanished the second I blinked. HR called me in the next day, said my access logs were corrupted, asked if I'd fallen asleep on duty. I lied and said maybe I had. But I know I didn't. I haven't been back since. If anyone out there works night security and has seen something similar, please say something. I need to know I'm not losing my mind. Story 6. The search bar typed first. It wasn't the first time I'd used the public computers at Beacon Hill Library. They were old, the keys clunky, the screens dim, even at full brightness, but they worked. I was just trying to do a little research for a walking tour idea, something weird, a forgotten Boston kind of thing. Abandoned subway entrances seemed like a cool angle. I typed slowly, or rather, I started to. But before I finished the second word, something filled the search bar for me. We see you now. I stared at it. Then I looked down at my hands. I hadn't touched the keyboard. My fingers were hovering, mid-type. I backspaced instinctively, but the message didn't delete. It pulsed, as if bolted for a moment, then settled back. My chair creaked as I shifted. Maybe it was a prank. Some kind of remote control thing? I looked over at the reference desk. Janice, the librarian, was shelving returns. She was the kind of person who always smiled too late. I stood up and walked over, tried to sound casual. Hey, is anyone else logged into that station? She frowned and tapped something on her monitor. Just you, she said. Why? Back at the screen, the message was gone. The search bar was empty again, but when I pressed the arrow to pull up the search history, there was no trace of anything. No abandoned subway entrances. No, we see you now. Nothing. Not even the browser default page. I clicked into settings. Everything had been cleared just a few seconds ago. I felt heat rise in my face. Not fear, not yet, more like irritation. I restarted the machine just to reset whatever glitch had happened. When the login prompt came up again, I entered the guest credentials. I typed deliberately this time, abandoned subway entrances Boston. Pressed enter. But what loaded wasn't Google or Bing. It was a black screen with just one line of text in gray. You've always been underground. I froze. My hands were sweaty. I scanned the ceiling, half expecting a camera lens to glint. Back. The other computers were still on, still occupied. 2 kids played games at the end station. A man scrolled through emails. None of them seemed to notice. I reached under the desk to find the CPU. The Ethernet cable was unplugged. I called Janice over. Told her something weird was happening, that the browser was behaving strangely. She leaned over, squinting, and for a moment I thought she might see it. But by the time she got there, the screen was back to normal. Search bar, blank. Cursor, blinking. Might have been a cache bug, she offered, already turning away. This time, I typed a different phrase. Computer acts like someone's typing. Hit enter. The screen flickered. Then the letters reshuffled on their own. They rearranged into, "We hear your thoughts." I backed away from the desk. My chair rolled slightly. I glanced at the clock, 4:33 p.m. It was broad daylight. I could hear traffic outside, but it felt like everything had shifted slightly, like the room was leaning. I tried another machine. Same account. Different computer. This time, when I typed Subway Map Boston 1940s, I got a page full of static. Just a harsh digital hiss and scrolling gibberish. Symbols I didn't recognize. One line stood out. In the center, follow the noise. The screen let out a high-pitched beep that no one else seemed to hear. Janice's voice startled me. She said I'd been sitting there for almost an hour, that she needed to shut down the system for updates. I hadn't realized that much time had passed. When I looked at the clock again, it was still 4:33. I left the library quickly, but when I passed by the side of the building, I noticed something. A metal door I'd never seen before, rusted shut but with a faint draft coming from the cracks. I pressed my ear against it. Beneath the noise of the street, I swear I heard typing. If anyone else has had something like this happen, especially at Beacon Hill, please let me know. I haven't gone back, but that draft under the door. It's cold, and sometimes when I'm typing at home, I feel like I'm not the only one pressing the keys. Story 7. CAPTCHA kept getting it wrong. I'd stayed late at the office, later than usual, trying to book a last-minute red-eye to Denver for a family thing. It was close to midnight when I finally sat down at my apartment desk, still in work clothes, half a sandwich untouched beside my keyboard. The apartment was quiet except for the occasional creak from the radiator. I was tired, but not out of it. I remember that clearly. The airline's website was sluggish, probably overloaded. When the CAPTCHA came up, I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, and focused. Select all images with bicycles. I did, all the obvious ones. Still, error. Select traffic lights. Error again. The third test was about crosswalks. I was being careful, I swear, zooming in, checking edges. It still rejected me. By the fifth attempt, my annoyance had turned into something colder. I double-checked every image. Some seemed off. Not wrong exactly, just strange. Slight distortions, like the images had been stretched or reassembled. One of the fire hydrants looked like it had 5 caps. A tree's shadow curved the wrong way. But I clicked the correct tiles anyway. Rejected. I sat back, staring at the screen. My room was dim except for the bluish glow from the monitor. No background music, no TV. I hadn't spoken a word out loud in hours. Then the 6th CAPTCHA loaded. Select all images with doors. I looked. My stomach dropped before my mind even processed it. There, in the grid of random doors, was a perfect photo of my front door. Not just any door, mine. The doormat with the faded "welcome" in cursive, the chipped blue paint near the hinge, the tiny dent from when I dropped groceries last month. I hadn't taken a picture of it. Not ever. I felt myself going very still. For a moment I considered. It had pulled from Google Street View, but the angle was too close, too straight on. Like someone had stood right outside my apartment and snapped it from eye level. I glanced toward the front hallway. The apartment was dark beyond my desk lamp. I didn't move. I didn't complete the CAPTCHA. I clicked out, shut the laptop, and sat listening. My own breathing was too loud. A minute passed, then 2. No knocks, no footsteps, but I swear I heard the faintest rustle, like fabric brushing against a wall, very near the front door. I got up eventually, slowly, turned on every light on the way. The door was locked, chain in place. I checked the peephole, nothing but the usual hallway. Still, I didn't sleep that night. Every time the radiator hissed or the building settled, I flinched. I kept checking my email, wondering if the booking had gone through anyway. It hadn't. This morning, I checked the browser history. The airline page was there, but no CAPTCHA attempts logged, no failed entries. Just a gap between 11:58 p.m. and 12:17 a.m. 18 minutes. I don't remember. If anyone has ever seen their own front door appear in a CAPTCHA, I need to know. I'm not the only one, please. Just tell me I'm not. Story 8. 404 error in real life. There's a stretch of road near Silver Lake that I used to take to avoid the 5 p.m. traffic. Just a narrow incline lined with eucalyptus trees and scattered signs for local insurance brokers and psychic readers. Nothing out of the ordinary until last Thursday. The billboard was wooden, cracked, and sun-bleached. But the message, it flickered. I swear it flickered. "Page not found," it said in glowing white font, stuttering like a web page glitch. Only there was no screen, just planks nailed to a rusted frame, no visible power source. I slowed down to stare, but the car behind me honked and I had to keep going. I couldn't stop thinking about it. That phrase, "page not found," it doesn't belong out there, miles from any server or modem. I returned the next afternoon with Nate, a friend from college who lives nearby. He brought his camera, joking it might be some kind of viral campaign. We laughed. I needed to laugh. But when we got there, the lot was gone. Not in a demolished sense. Just wrong. No billboard. No streetlight. The gravel shoulder where I'd pulled over, overgrown with weeds like no car had stopped there in years. Nate looked at me sideways. "You sure this is the spot?" I was. I remembered the gas station sign up the hill, the bend in the guardrail. The silence hit me first. Not quiet, silent, no wind, no birds. Even the eucalyptus trees stood still, their usual rustle replaced by something heavier. A kind of muffled pressure in the air, like the inside of a sealed room. I said Nate's name, softly, just to hear something human. He didn't answer. He was pointing his camera toward the empty lot, brows furrowed. Then his camera died. No beep, no shutdown screen. Just nothing. He tapped the screen, cursed softly. "Fully charged," he mumbled. I tried my phone. Black. Wouldn't even light up. I remember the panic not hitting me all at once, just creeping in. Like I'd stepped somewhere I shouldn't have, and the place knew it. I started walking forward toward where the billboard had stood. My feet crunched gravel that shouldn't have been there. There were no tire marks, no trash, no remnants of signage. But the air smelled like burnt plastic, faint but sharp. Nate grabbed my arm. "Let's go." He never sounded like that before. Flat, as if trying not to feel anything. Back in the car, everything came back on. Camera, phone, even the radio kicked in mid-sentence, like it had just paused. Nate didn't say a word the whole ride, just stared ahead, fingers clenching the edge of his seat. When I dropped him off, he muttered, "Don't go back," and shut the door. I passed by again this morning. Took a different route, just to see. The hill was there, the turnoff. But the lot? Fenced. Barbed wire looped around wooden posts. A rusted sign read, "Restricted, do not enter." No mention of who it belonged to, no record online. I checked. I haven't talked to Nate since. He's not answering texts. I keep wondering if I imagined the whole thing. But last night, my phone vibrated at 3:14 a.m. A notification popped up from an app I didn't recognize. Error 404, memory not found. If anyone near Silver Lake has seen something similar, please let me know. I'm not sure I ever really left that place. Story 9. My face in the bot account. I only noticed it because of the timestamp, 3:17 a.m. Same time, every single day. That's what caught my attention first, not the profile picture. Not until I zoomed in. I was auditing ad performance for one of my smaller clients, a local candle brand that sells mostly through Instagram. I'd set up a basic analytics dashboard and was filtering out bot interactions when I saw the handle, Daily Glow 3, a name that didn't match any typical spam patterns. But the activity was odd, hyper-consistent. One post every morning, always at exactly 3:17. Curious, I clicked on the account. The feed was bland, stock-style photos of rooms, vaguely cozy and impersonal, all with the same filter and no captions. But the profile picture, I knew that face. I stared at it, frozen, before opening an old folder on my desktop. My college yearbook photo, cropped, blurred slightly, but undeniably me. I hadn't used that image in over a decade. I rationalized it. Maybe someone had scraped public alumni pages. Still, something about the expression was off. I looked more closely. The head was tilted a little more than mine had been in the original, and the background wasn't the photography backdrop. It was something darker, undefined. I checked my webcam settings. Disabled, just like I always left it. Tape over the lens too, after that weird zoom bug last year. Still, I unplugged it completely, just in case. Then I deleted every cloud photo backup I could find, locked down my accounts. But that night I set an alarm for 3:10 a.m. I sat in the living room, lights off, laptop open, staring at the profile. Nothing changed at first. Then, right at 3:17, the post appeared. A photo of a hallway. Not mine, but familiar. Narrow, carpeted. Slight blur near the doorframe, as if someone had just stepped out of frame. No caption. I checked the metadata. Stripped. Over the next few days, I kept watching. New photo, same time. One was of a diner counter. Another showed an empty bus seat. Always from strange angles, never quite centered. Always sterile, and always posted by the account with my face. I stopped sleeping. I started checking the mirrors twice. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection lagging, just a second too slow. I reached out to Instagram support, got a generic response, reported the account. No reply. I tried messaging it. Why are you using my photo? The message showed as seen, but no response. That night's post showed an office chair, slightly turned, with a shadow crossing the far wall. It looked recent, like it had been taken only moments before. I covered every camera lens in my apartment, even the microwave, disconnected everything with a microphone. My phone stayed in airplane mode most of the day. Still, 3:17 came and the posts kept coming. One showed a staircase, dimly lit with some blur or smudge, near the railing. I don't have stairs in my place. I visited my college IT department. No help. They said the yearbook site had been shut down years ago. I checked the Wayback Machine. My photo was missing. But when I searched the bot handle online, it didn't appear. No mentions, no tags, no results, except for what I could still see from my account. It was like it only existed for me. Last night, the image was of my building's laundry room. The old linoleum tiles, the flickering ceiling light, the corner with the dented blue basket I threw out months ago. I hadn't been down there in weeks, and I sure as hell hadn't taken that photo. I want to believe it's just an elaborate prank or some AI glitch. But part of me knows, really knows, that this has nothing to do with code. That face in the profile. It's not just my yearbook photo. It's watching something I can't see. Something I'm starting to feel, even when I close my eyes. If anyone else has seen a profile using their face, please say something. Tell me I'm not the only one. Tell me this isn't just me. Story 10. I never hit play. It's not unusual to leave my phone unlocked during my overnight Uber shifts in Philly. Most nights I rely on quick glances at notifications, checking the map, changing playlists without fumbling with Face ID. But last Friday, after a shift that felt oddly quiet, I found a 20-minute video saved to my gallery. I didn't press record. I didn't even touch the camera app. It was just static darkness at first. No passengers, no sound. Just the grainy blackness of my back seat captured in night mode. I almost deleted it right there, thinking it was a pocket recording or some glitch. But then I noticed the timestamp, 12:06 a.m. I clearly remembered sitting in a Wawa parking lot at that exact time, eating a turkey hoagie. I was alone. I let the video play. A full 6 minutes in, something shifts. It's subtle. The back seat seems to pull itself slightly into focus, like something is adjusting the lens from inside. There's a brief flicker, a motion blur at the far right, near the door. No light turns on. The interior remains dark. But something is there. The space feels full. I paused it, stared at the frozen frame. There was nothing definite, just the faintest outline of something too tall for the back seat. like a person sitting upright with their head inches from the roof. But the angle didn't make sense, and I hadn't picked up a single ride that night, not one. I scrubbed forward to 1209. For the first time I heard something, barely a sound, a soft drag, like fabric shifting. Then something knocked. Once. Not a sharp knock, but a hollow tap, as if knuckles brushing lightly on glass. I could swear it came from inside the car. There were no lights outside, no movement through the rear windows, but the shape was more defined now, still unmoving, but it had weight. Shoulders, a bent neck, something hunched. I pressed pause again and just stared. I knew every inch of that back seat. Nothing should have been able to sit like that, not without me noticing during the night. I turned up the volume, restarted the clip, and let it run without fast forwarding. My breath caught when, at 12:14, the shape leaned forward, slowly, like a person waking from sleep. It didn't turn or shift its weight, just tilted until its shadow broke the center of the frame. My heart thudded as I noticed something glint. Not eyes. A reflection. Something metallic or wet, right where a mouth would be. My first instinct was to check the car. I ran outside in broad daylight, swung open the back seat, and found nothing. No signs of entry, no smudges, no scent. The leather was cold, but untouched. I even checked under the seats. Empty. I tried to recreate it. Sat a duffel bag in the same position. Reviewed the new footage. It didn't look remotely the same. The shape in the original wasn't a bag. It had limbs, shoulders, intent. The last minute of the video is the worst. At 12:19, the screen flickers slightly. There's a blur, almost like a frame drop. Then, very clearly, the front passenger seat shifts. It doesn't recline. It jolts, as if something had pushed it forward from the back. Then the video ends. I haven't driven since. The car sits in my garage, locked. I haven't gone near it in days. I've replayed the video countless times. I still don't know who or what was in my car that night, but I do know one thing for sure. I never hit play. If anyone's ever seen something like this, especially drivers out there, please tell me. Please. Am I just losing it? Or is something following me? Story 11. The feed that looped. I hadn't even unpacked my overnight bag when it happened. Just one idle click while waiting for water to boil, one browser tab, one accidental keystroke, and suddenly, there I was, on screen, sitting exactly where I was sitting. Only, in the video, Marnie was barking. I turned toward her in real life. She was curled up, silent, not even looking at me. But in the stream, she stood alert, tail stiff, aimed at something behind the camera. Same timestamp, same lighting. Same bowl of fruit on the counter. It was this room, this moment, but wrong. I should have closed the tab right then. Blamed it on a laggy Nest Cam, some synced up footage her owners forgot to tell me about. But the way the shadows played on the walls, subtly different, and how I didn't remember leaving the cabinet door ajar like that. I couldn't look away. I checked the browser address. It wasn't bookmarked, just a random sequence of numbers. No labels, no controls, just the live feed and the echo of Marnie's barking, looping once every 7 seconds. She would freeze, then start again, always from the same startled posture. I stood, waved at the camera. Nothing changed. The figure on the screen, me, didn't move. He just sat there, slack-jawed, staring past the laptop like something was happening behind it. I glanced over my shoulder. Nothing. A passing siren outside, faint and distant. I muted the tab, but the barking didn't stop. That's when I noticed it. Barely audible, like a breath caught in a wall. The sound wasn't coming from the laptop anymore. It was coming from the vent just above the fridge. Steady, hollow. A bark that wasn't quite Marnie's, but close enough. I opened the vent. Panel. Dust, old receipts, and deeper inside, the faint glint of something metallic. I didn't reach in. I couldn't. Marnie stood then, real Marnie, ears back, eyes fixed on me, not the vent, me, like she was waiting for something. I sat back down, unmuted the stream. Now, on the feed, I was gone. The chair was empty, but the camera kept rolling. The timestamp kept ticking. The room was identical, but without me. And yet the chair still creaked every few seconds, as if someone invisible shifted their weight. I refreshed the page. It blinked, once. Then the feed returned, only now it was darker, like the lights had dimmed. My mug was gone. The fruit on the counter was rotting, brown, slumped, wet. Marnie wasn't in the shot at all. The real room was unchanged. My mug was still warm. Marnie lay at my feet, but I felt colder now, like the feed had pulled something from here to there. Like a duplicate version of the apartment was moving, faster than this one, aging ahead. I tried to close the browser. It refused. The cursor jittered, flickered, moved slightly against my will. The tab wouldn't exit. When I forced the laptop shut, the screen flashed one last time. A face just behind the chair. Not mine. Watching. I didn't sleep. I unplugged the modem. Shut off the lights, kept Marnie close. But I swear, every so often I still hear the bark. Not hers, but the looped one. Faint. In the vents. If anyone else has ever stumbled on a live stream like that, please tell me. Was I hacked, or was I watching something that was never meant to be seen? Story 12. Password hint: you shouldn't be here. I only clicked it because I was tired. 3 failed logins, middle of the night, and the report was due by morning. I thought maybe I'd fat-fingered the password, or maybe my brain was just fried. But when the password hint popped up, I stared at the screen longer than I probably should have. Last place you saw her. I never wrote that. I've never typed that phrase into any system, not even once, and definitely not for this account. My password hints are always dumb things. My first pet, the street I grew up on, movie quotes. Never anything like this. And the thing is, I knew exactly what it meant. Allison's name hasn't left my head in over a year, but I haven't said it out loud since the funeral. I made sure of that. No social posts, no late-night texts, just silence. We were hiking that weekend. She was ahead of me, teasing me for being slow. I looked down for half a second to adjust my phone GPS, and when I looked up, she was gone. I searched for hours before calling for help. The trail was quiet, empty. Her backpack was found, zipped. No signs of a struggle, no wildlife nearby. Just absence. They said she probably wandered off and fell, that I shouldn't blame myself. But I remember every tree, every bend, every breath I took when I realized I couldn't hear her footsteps anymore. So when that hint appeared, it felt like something had cracked. Like the boundary between now and then had slipped. I sat there, staring at the screen, hand hovering over the keyboard, heart kicking hard against my ribs. I don't even remember typing anything, just that I suddenly wasn't on my email page anymore. The screen went black, then loaded what looked like a low-res video feed. I thought it might have been a bug or some hijack malware, until I recognized the trees, the trail, my trail. It was dusk on screen, the way it had been that day. There was movement, slow, uncertain, like someone trying not to be seen. And then, a shape in the distance. Someone walking just off camera. I closed the laptop so hard it clicked. Everything in me screamed to shut it down, disconnect Wi-Fi, erase history. I stood there for minutes, ears ringing. Finally, I powered it back up. Nothing, just the normal login page. Hint gone, like it had never been there. I didn't sleep. Every time I blinked, I saw the outline, the flicker of movement in the brush. I convinced myself it was a prank. Data. Leak. Someone messing with me. But I checked all my passwords. None were changed. No logins from other devices. No breach alerts. This morning I found a draft email waiting. No subject. Just 2 lines. You stopped looking. I never stopped waiting. The cursor blinked at the end like it was expecting me to reply. I didn't write it. At least, I don't think I did. I haven't gone back to the trail since. But I keep thinking about that video feed, about how familiar it looked, how I swear I saw a flash of red, the same color as the jacket she was wearing that day. I didn't delete the email. I don't know why. If anyone else has ever seen something like this, please tell me I'm not the only one. Or tell me what to do next. Should I go back? Story 13. Influencer who doesn't exist. They kept tagging me in her posts. Friends, mutuals, even my ex from college. Always the same vibe. You have to follow Liv Aura. She's life-changing. I resisted at first. The kind of pastel-toned self-help content she posted usually annoyed me. But the odd thing was, every video looked recent, yet none had time. Stamps, no comments, no likes, just shares. The account said she was based in Miami. I live in Brickell, so I figured I'd at least recognize a backdrop or two, but nothing ever clicked. Her beach shots had no familiar landmarks. Her apartment, where she recorded most of her healing affirmations, had huge glass windows but reflected no skyline. And her voice, if you can call it that, always felt slightly off, too smooth. Like someone trying to sound human. One afternoon, I decided to dig deeper. Reverse image search on her photos gave me 0 results, which is almost impossible nowadays. I ran her username through archives and web scrapers. No Reddit mentions before January of this year. No posts on Wayback Machine. It's like she didn't exist before 2025, but she has thousands of followers. Verified. I got obsessed. Stayed up until 3 a.m. looking for anything. Birth records, business filings, even voice samples for AI detection. Nothing. Then I found a podcast interview. Finally, I thought. Something unscripted. The host was this guy named Milo, who does deep dive influencer exposés. The video was 37 minutes long. But here's the thing. Milo spoke normally, but every time it cut to Liv Aura, her lips didn't move. Not once. The subtitles were there like she was speaking, but there was no audio. Just silence. I played it on different devices, downloaded the file, even checked the waveform in an editing app. Flatline. No sound. But people in the comments acted like it was the most enlightening episode ever. Her voice gave me chills. I felt seen. What were they hearing that I wasn't? I DM'd Milo. He never replied. Then his account vanished a week later, just gone, like he'd never existed either. I checked the podcast's RSS feed. Episode 107, the one with Liv Aura, had been replaced by static. No title, no transcript, just a gray box. At that point, I deleted the app and tried to forget about it. But this morning, one of her videos autoplayed on my Instagram feed. I hadn't followed her, I swear. The video opened with her looking straight into the camera, holding a mug. The caption read, "Good morning, friend. You're safe now." But she didn't say anything. Her lips stayed still, and behind her, in the window's reflection, was my apartment. If anyone else has seen her, really seen her, please tell me. I need to know I'm not the only one who hears nothing. Story 14. 0 viewers, but it responded. I only needed to stream for 10 minutes. It was part of a media assignment. Test Twitch's interface, simulate interaction, write a short report. Simple. I chose an odd time, just before midnight, to ensure no real audience would show up. My mic was off, camera facing the blank wall behind me. I didn't even plan to speak. Just move through the interface and log the steps. Still, I said it. Anyone out there? My voice was low, more of a mutter than anything else. Reflex, maybe. The kind of dumb throwaway line people always say on streamers' compilations. I was alone in my dorm room. Lights dim, heater humming. Nothing strange. But something replied. The chat blinked to life. Closer than you think. No emojis. No username. Just that. One line. I froze. I stared at the dashboard. 0 viewers. No stream delay. Twitch showed no latency. I clicked to refresh. Still 0. The mic icon was muted. I double-checked the hardware settings. Disabled. Completely. I told myself it had to be a glitch. Maybe Twitch queued a message from an old chat. Maybe someone had access to my account and was playing a prank. My roommate had left for the weekend. I was sure of that. I had helped him carry his suitcase to the elevator. The silence in the room now felt heavier, like the air had thickened. I typed, "Who is this?" into the chat box. The message posted, but nothing came back. I stared at it for maybe a minute. Then another line appeared. "Turn around." The message didn't scroll. It just appeared, as if it had always been there. Again, no viewer count increase, no name. Just text that hadn't existed a second before. I didn't turn, not right away. I sat completely still, trying to listen. The radiator clicked. A fridge buzzed somewhere down the hall. Normal dorm sounds. But layered under that was something else. A soft, irregular tapping, like fingers drumming on plastic, coming from behind me, right where the camera was pointing. I told myself it was the wall heater, maybe expanding with the heat. I forced myself to turn slowly. The room was empty, of course. Same blank wall, the corner of my bookshelf, the closed door. Nothing moved, but the tapping didn't stop. It was faint now, like it had moved inside the walls or under the floor. I ended the stream, but Twitch didn't respond. The dashboard froze. My mouse moved, but no clicks registered. I yanked the power cord. Black screen. Everything stopped. The tapping didn't. I unplugged the webcam, disconnected the mic, powered everything off. Still, the sound continued. For hours. I lay on my bed with my phone flashlight on, watching the corners. It wasn't loud. It was worse than loud. It was steady, controlled, intentional. Always 3 taps. Then silence. Then 3 taps again. I filed the assignment the next day without mentioning what happened. But I haven't streamed since. I haven't even used that laptop. It's still sitting on my desk, powered off. I taped over the webcam. Not because I think it will help, just because I don't know what else to do. If anyone out there has had something like this happen, especially with no viewers showing, please say something. I need to know I'm not the only one. Story 15. Image metadata from tomorrow. I took the photo for no particular reason. The beach was emptying out, golden light catching the backs of people walking toward the parking lot. Venice Beach. At sunset looks like a place between worlds. Too quiet for Los Angeles, too alive to be still. I remember holding my phone still, framing a lone jogger silhouetted against the water. I didn't edit or post it. Just took it and pocketed the phone. Back at the Airbnb, I forgot about it. I made pasta, watched something dumb, fell asleep with the TV on. It wasn't until after midnight, when I was deleting duplicates from my camera roll, that I saw the photo again. But the timestamp wasn't 7:04 p.m. when I'd taken it. It said 2:12 p.m. the following day. That was already strange. Stranger. Still, when I tapped the metadata for location, it didn't say Venice Beach. It said just one word. Under. And there were likes, 5 of them. No app interface, no profile page. Just a gray bar under the image, faint heart icon, and the number 5. I hadn't uploaded it anywhere. I assumed it was a bug. Maybe some corrupted cache from an old photo app. But the heart icon looked different, like nothing I recognized. I closed the gallery, cleared the cache, restarted the phone. When I opened it again, the photo was still there. Same timestamp, same under. Now it had 6 likes. I didn't sleep after that. Around 3:30 a.m. I opened the image on my laptop. Metadata said, taken June 6, 2025, 2:12 p.m. Latitude, near to 0,000, 020,000. Elevation, 12. I looked closer at the image. Something seemed different. In the far left of the frame, almost out of sight, was a dark line in the sand, like a crack. I was sure it hadn't been there earlier. I tried editing it, adjusted contrast, exposure. That's when I noticed the shadows. They didn't match. The sun was behind the jogger, but her shadow stretched toward the ocean. That's impossible. I opened the photo's raw data using a hex viewer. Every field was readable, except one labeled Origin. It was scrambled, alternating between null and open. By 5 a.m., I started to feel watched. Not the way you feel after a horror movie. This was different. Like something in the room was awake with me. I unplugged everything, closed the curtains, turned off the Wi-Fi. But the phone buzzed once. Notification from the gallery app. New reaction. When I opened it, the photo was full screen. The jogger was gone. I froze, blinked, looked again. The jogger had reappeared, but she was closer. Her posture had changed, head turned slightly, toward me, like she'd heard something. I threw the phone across the room. It landed face down, buzzed once, then again. I left it there, at exactly 2:12 p.m. I couldn't help myself. I checked the phone. The image was gone from my camera roll, but it appeared in a new folder named Below. Inside, one image. The beach, empty. The crack in the sand was wider now. At the bottom of the frame, barely visible, were footprints, leading toward it. I don't know who the likes are from. I don't know who or what is changing the file. But the folder updated again just now. New image, same beach. This time, the photo is taken from under the sand. If anyone else has had something like this happen, please tell me what you saw. I need to know I'm not alone. Story 16. Autofill knew too much. I was filling out yet another job application on a corporate site, bored and half asleep, when the autofill suggestion appeared. Last location, French Quarter Alley 6. I paused. That wasn't part of the form. There wasn't even a field for last location. But there it was, just under my address, as if the browser had slipped in something extra. And it was correct. I had dropped my phone there 3 nights ago during that blackout. I hadn't told anyone, not even Rachel, and she was with me until we split up to find a cab. The power had cut out across half the quarter, and we'd been wandering on foot, relying on moonlight and muscle memory. I lost the phone just before midnight, I think. My memory blurs around that moment. All I recall is the light from a storefront blinking off. And the quiet, too much quiet. I dismissed the autofill line, refreshed the page. It didn't come back. I figured it was some weird browser glitch. Still, my hands were sweating as I clicked through the next steps. Later that night, while brushing my teeth, I opened my laptop again to check on the application status. The company portal had a section titled Activity History. I didn't remember enabling that. It listed 9:46 p.m., draft started, location, French Quarter Alley 6. That made no sense. I'd started the application from my apartment. Not just that, I hadn't been back to the quarter since the night I lost the phone. The next day, my phone buzzed awake on my desk. I hadn't charged it. It had been dead for days ever since I retrieved it. I picked it up cautiously. One new photo in my gallery. A blurry shot, overexposed in one corner, showing my back, my jacket unmistakable, facing away from the camera. I was standing in the alley. The timestamp said it was taken 2 nights ago, but I hadn't returned there. I showed it to Rachel. She laughed nervously, said maybe it got triggered by movement or something, but her face changed when I asked if she still had her phone from that night. She hesitated. I lost mine too, she finally said. Same night, same area. That detail hadn't come up before. We sat in silence for a minute. Then she said she'd go check her photo gallery, called me 20 minutes later. It's there, she whispered. A picture of me, taken from behind. I don't know who took it. I stopped applying to jobs after that. Not because I didn't want to work, but because every form I opened started suggesting that same phrase again. Last location, French Quarter Alley 6. Even after I cleared my cache, even after I switched devices, it showed up in autofill boxes where it made no sense, on music sites, online shopping carts, even when searching directions. Always in the same gray font, always unclickable. Last night I got an email from a company I'd never heard of. No subject, no body, just an attachment. I hovered for a long time before opening it. It was a screen recording. My laptop camera view. I was sitting still, staring at the screen, unmoving. But the timestamp wasn't from now. It was from the night I lost my phone. If anyone else has experienced something like this, please let me know. Am I going crazy? Story 17. Muted microphone, Still heard. I had the interview scheduled for 3 p.m. sharp. Just another remote call in my room, desk cluttered with notes and coffee stains, webcam perched on a stack of books to hide the worst angles. I remember the way the light was coming in, muted and gray, a storm threatening outside, though nothing had started falling yet. I always double-check the mic settings before these things. That day, I checked 3 times. It was off. The recruiter, Caitlin, seemed nice enough, polished but casual. She smiled a lot, even when I stumbled a bit explaining my past role. The call had a rhythm, a kind of quiet back and forth that felt rehearsed. About 15 minutes in, she paused. Her brow furrowed slightly like she was confused or annoyed, and she leaned closer to her screen. "Why did you whisper that?" she asked. I blinked. "What?" "Just now. It was really faint, but I heard you whisper something, like, 'Don't look.'" She tried to laugh, but it sounded off, tight and forced. "You didn't say that?" I shook my head. "My mic's muted," I said, bringing up the settings panel to show her. The tiny red icon confirmed it, still off. "It must be a glitch or something." I swear I didn't say a word. There was a moment of stillness. Her eyes scanned the screen, as if trying to see past me, into the room behind. I glanced over my shoulder instinctively, even though I knew no one else was home. Just a bookshelf, a closed door, and the edge of my bed. Still, my chest tightened. I turned back to the screen. Caitlin was staring, now openly unsettled. It sounded close, like it wasn't coming from your mic. Closer to mine, maybe, but I didn't hear it with my ears, only through the call. The silence that followed wasn't comfortable. I could hear the distant hum of her laptop fan, the faint rustle of her clothes. I hadn't touched anything. I hadn't even breathed heavily. But something about the way she kept glancing off screen, as if someone were in the room with her, made the skin on my arms prickle. She tried to brush it off after a while. "Probably just interference," she said. "Zoom's been acting weird. All day." But her eyes never really relaxed. We wrapped up quickly, her tone clipped and polite. She didn't mention a follow-up. After the call ended, I sat still for a long time. The room felt colder, like a draft had crept in unnoticed. I reached under the desk to unplug the webcam, and that's when I noticed it. A soft smudge, like a greasy fingerprint, right on the inside of the screen. I don't touch the screen, never have. That night, I dreamed of static. Just static. My voice trying to break through something, whispering something I couldn't quite remember when I woke up. But the feeling stayed. It still does. If anyone else has ever had something like this happen during a video call, please, tell me. Am I missing something? Or did she really hear me when I wasn't speaking? Story 18. 404 printed on the mirror. The bathroom lights in our San Francisco co-working space always had a faint buzz. Not enough to complain about, just enough to notice. Yesterday, though, that buzz dropped out for a second. And the mirror glitched. I don't mean bad lighting or weird angle kind of glitch. I mean literal flickering like an old monitor. That's when I saw the text. 404, reflection not found. Just for a blink. Then it was me again. But I was blinking. Fast. Too fast. I work in marketing for a startup that barely pays rent, so I spend more time than I'd like in that 3rd floor. Co-working building. It has exposed brick, kombucha on tap, and bathrooms that smell faintly of lemon and dust. I usually take a break around 3 p.m., not because I need to pee, but because staring at my own tired face gives me an excuse to stop pretending to care about ad metrics. Yesterday was no different. I pushed open the heavy door, stepped inside, and the mirror, an oversized slab framed in brushed steel, flashed white. Like it rebooted. I froze. The room was still lit, still quiet, but the reflection had vanished. For 1 second, there was just that error message. Then my face came back, except it was blinking, even though I wasn't. I leaned closer, trying to catch some logical explanation. I thought maybe my contacts were acting up, or it was a trick of the light. But my real eyes stayed still, and the ones in the mirror twitched, rhythmic, mechanical, like video frames skipping. I waved my hand. The reflection followed, a beat late. There was a tiny lag. I backed away. Not dramatically, just a slow, cautious step. The lights flickered again, softer this time, but enough to make me shiver. The lemon cleaner smell seemed sharper suddenly, metallic, like warm circuits. I glanced at the vent overhead, wondering if maybe heat was warping the mirror. But the air was cool, too cool for a June afternoon in California. That's when I noticed the timestamp, lower right corner of the mirror, barely visible, like a ghost of an interface. 16:23:07. It advanced in real time, ticking as I stared. I checked my phone. It said 3:23 p.m., an hour off. I blinked. The mirror version blinked twice, quickly, like a nervous tick. My stomach turned. I left the bathroom. Didn't run, didn't speak. Just walked back to my desk, heart tapping in my ribs like a second clock. I didn't mention it to anyone. My team was neck deep in a pitch deck, and I wasn't about to become the mirror guy, but when I looked at my laptop screen, I caught it again. For a flash. In the glassy black of my powered-down webcam, my face blinking faster than I should be. I shut the laptop, took a breath, told myself it was stress, eye strain, or too much caffeine. I'd had 3 coffees. That could mess with perception, right? But I avoided mirrors the rest of the day, even my phone's front camera. Just couldn't bring myself to open it. That night, brushing my teeth at home, I finally looked again. My bathroom mirror is small, cracked in the corner, but the light stayed steady. No error message, no lag. I almost laughed. Maybe I'd just imagined the whole thing. Maybe the glitch was in me. Until this morning. I walked into the co-working bathroom like nothing happened. The mirror was dark this time, completely off. No reflection, no lights above, but the rest of the room was lit. My shadow was cast on the wall. I waved. Nothing waved back. Then faintly, the words returned. Not printed this time, scratched into the surface itself. 404, reflection still missing. I stepped back. The room was dead silent. I checked my phone's camera to see myself. It worked, sort of. My face was there, but only for one frame. Then it cut to black. If anyone else has worked in a shared space like this and seen something similar, please let me know. I don't want to be the only one who noticed when the mirror stopped following. Story 19. Terms of service changed while reading. I was only trying to track my sleep. That's all I wanted, something to help with the dreams. The app had good reviews, sleek interface, free trial. I didn't think much when it prompted the usual agreement screen, but something about the scroll bar felt off. It moved like it was resisting me, like I was dragging against wet paper. I skimmed past the usual legalese until one clause caught my eye. It had my name, my full name, middle initial and all. By proceeding, full legal name, you consent to simulation. I froze. My thumb hovered above the screen. I blinked, scrolled up. The clause was gone. Not edited, not moved. Gone. I backed out of the app, reopened it. Nothing. Just a cheerful dashboard with tips for deep rest and a pulsing icon that said begin first night. I didn't sleep that night. Or rather, I tried. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw the clause. Not just the words, but how it was formatted. The bold type. The space before and after it. The feeling that it was written for me. The next day, things began to misalign. My kitchen window usually lets in the morning sun at 7:12 a.m. But today, the light came in late, soft and sideways, like a sun lamp in a basement. My coffee tasted muted. My dog barked at the hallway. Mirror for 10 full minutes. She's never done that. I tried to uninstall the app. It wasn't listed in my settings. Not under apps, not under storage. But the icon was still there, cheerful and pulsing. I held it down. No delete option. When I tapped it again, the screen blinked, just once. and I was logged in. A new clause appeared. You are now calibrated. That word stuck with me all day. Calibrated, like a machine. I went to work, or thought I did. My coworkers moved with a strange synchronicity, their conversations always pausing when I entered a room. I asked Liz from HR if she noticed anything weird. She just smiled too wide and said, "You're adapting well." I tried to take screenshots. They came out black. Not blurred, black. I emailed support, but the address bounced. I called my sister to explain. She laughed, then said in a flat voice, "You always were dramatic." Her voice dipped at the end, like a recorded line playing out of sync. I stopped sleeping altogether. I just lie there, staring at the ceiling. Sometimes, I hear things, not noises, phrases, repetitive, soft, layered. Subject stabilized. Deviation minimal. Observe without interference. Every night, those same 3 lines, just beneath the threshold of understanding. 3 days ago, my reflection stopped matching me. It blinks too late. It smiles when I'm not smiling. I covered all the mirrors. I caught my phone camera flickering when idle. I keep it in the drawer now, wrapped in aluminum foil, but I don't think it matters. They're past the phone. Today, I looked outside and realized I don't remember how long I've been in this apartment, or why there are no people on the street anymore. No cars, just soft ambient noise like the world is buffering. I'm writing this because I need someone, anyone, to read it before the terms change again. If you've downloaded something new recently and felt something, shift. Go back. Scroll carefully. Look for your name. If anyone else has experienced something like this, please let me know. Am I going crazy? Story 20. Offline, but it updated anyway. I camp alone sometimes. It's something I started doing to clear my head after the divorce. Colorado's backcountry offers the kind of silence I can't find anywhere else. Last weekend, I drove 4 hours into the San Juan National Forest, parked near an old trailhead, and hiked in with nothing but a backpack, a tarp, and my phone, set to airplane mode to save battery. I didn't plan to use it unless I needed GPS. No signal out there anyway. The first day was uneventful. I pitched my tarp by a stream, cooked a small meal on my camp stove, and watched the sky change color through the trees. There was a chill in the air by sunset, but nothing out of the ordinary. I remember thinking how quiet everything was. No wind, no birds after dusk, just the faint burble of the stream and my own breathing. I went to sleep around 10 p.m., bundled up in my sleeping bag, my phone tucked under my pillow to keep the battery from freezing. I didn't fall asleep right away. There were distant cracking sounds, maybe a branch falling, maybe a deer, but they didn't come close. I woke once during the night to adjust my tarp flapping slightly. The moonlight made everything look flatter, less real. I don't remember hearing anything then. In the morning, I checked the time on my phone. 6:02 a.m., still in airplane mode, no bars, no Wi-Fi, battery at 82%. But there was a notification on the lock screen, one of those emergency alerts, the kind that buzzes like crazy during flash floods or amber alerts. Only this one had no sound, no vibration, just a static banner under the clock that said, "Weather warning, 3:33 am. You're not alone out here." I stared at it for a full minute, not moving. The screen didn't respond at first when I tried to swipe it away. Then it vanished before I could tap it. No log of it in my notifications. Nothing in the alert history. It was just gone. I double-checked that airplane mode was still on. It was. No auto updates, no emergency override settings. I tried restarting. The phone. Nothing changed. Still no signal, no explanation. The GPS worked though. I checked my location, half expecting to see myself somewhere else. But the dot hovered exactly where I'd set up camp. The sun had barely cleared the ridge. When I packed everything and headed out, I kept looking back, listening for movement. At one point, I stopped walking because I thought I heard someone breathing behind me. It was only my own breath echoing in the cold. I made it back to the car before noon. Once I had reception, I checked for weather alerts in the area. Nothing. reported at all. No record of any emergency broadcast that night. I even called my cell provider. They had no idea how an alert could be pushed to a phone with no service. I still have the phone. Still works fine. But that lock screen, 3:33 a.m., you're not alone out here. It felt like something more than a glitch. If anyone else has seen something like this, any strange messages when you're completely offline, please tell me. Am I losing my mind, or is something watching us when we think we're alone?